Tēnā koe te rangatira whakanui te wiki o te reo Māori. It's want to acknowledge the celebration of Māori Language Week. Mr. Speaker, before I do, I was here last night during the dinner break and want to acknowledge the dedication and the unveiling of the commemorative plaques for Afghanistan, Timor-Leste and the missions in support of peace that are here today as a reminder. And last night, what was also to remind us were the families and the whānau that we hear to celebrate the sacrifice that was made. And that leads me into my brief speech just in regards to the Families Commission, because that's really the importance of the role that this Families Commission play. Mr. Speaker, the previous speaker, Moana Maki, talked about the importance of independence. It's quite interesting, she may have forgotten that for a while there, the Labour government talked about, the Labour Party talked about hands-on. And now wants to preach about hands-off. So it's a bit confusing to sort of hear that speech about that, because I think that this actually, seriously, this actually is a combination of the two things. So let's see this, what the Commission actually does, Ms. Mackey. So the Families Commission, established in 2003, was important because it was about identifying the needs of families and whānau in our community. And most importantly, it was about the research that was a part of it, and I was part of that previously, especially around the clearinghouse of information in family violence as well, and that was quite critical. That function has not been removed. The importance of evidence-based information that informs policymakers, NGOs and others, so that when we're focusing our focus of energy and effort, it goes in the appropriate places. It's important to see that under the Crown's Entities Act of 2004, the Families Commission still has that sense of autonomy, even though it's been argued against that. And so its role is as an advocate for the interests of families inside of our communities, also to monitor and evaluate those programs and interventions. What was mentioned was about Sir Peter Gluckman. Well, in our select committee where we interviewed with the Families Commission, it was important that Sir Peter Gluckman actually confirmed and commented and celebrated the shifts of the Families Commissions in these amendments. In fact, he said to us quite clearly at that point in time, the focus on evidence-based research was absolutely important. So when we went from 7 commissioners down to 1, the other commissioners had an engagement role. What this would ensure that by having a family status report and a social sciences expert panel would mean that we'd have an even greater sense of evidence-based, would have a clear focus on what that could provide for the policymakers and for our communities at large. Mr. Speaker, Moana Maki also talked about the longitudinal study, and I know Professor Richie Poulton. In fact, I met with him last week and spoke with him about the work that he was doing, the longitudinal study, which is world-leading, absolutely, the importance of that impact on families. We talked about the role, also too, about the Families Commission, and we could see both the benefits and the pluses to the science, the social science expert panel, and the evidence combined with that longitudinal study that could make a difference. So I don't agree, we don't agree on this side, that these amendments will in any way discredit or take away the credibility of the Families Commission. On our view, quite clearly from both the experts that have been quoted and talked about, from the communities, from those that are on the ground, what we see in actual fact, this will truly make a difference. So I support this bill. I think that actually these amendments will both help and support the direction, the focus, and most importantly, at the end of the day, will it truly make a difference to the families in our communities? We believe it will. Mr. Speaker, I commend these amendments to the House.
I understand the next call is a split call. Carol
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.